Preview.
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman.
It's always Superman.
Hi guys, it's Rufaro here. Back with the podcast, I'm joined by
Edwin, the guy with the videos.
Farai, you know me, I'm on the blog.
and today we have a special guest, Honorable Advocate Fortune Chasi, who is the Deputy Minister of Transport and Infrastructure Development.
Yeah, just call me Fortune.
Welcome sir to the podcast.
Thank you.
So yes, at Shoko Festival, you shared the story about when we had the drone party. You said that nowadays, when you're buying toys for your kids, you buy flying toys so that you also get to interact with them.
Yeah,
Can you tell us more about where this love for
and,
drones?
I think it has always been like that. You know, whenever I've bought toys, they are really essentially meant for me. And the child can piggyback on me. Yeah. But, you know, drones are a wonderful development in terms of transportation. I know that in some countries, even in Africa, I think Rwanda has been spoken about. They use them to transport medicines. So I would envisage a situation where, for example, somebody has been bitten by a snake. You know? And normally when you have that type of thing, you know, with snake bites, doesn't take too long to affect you, and you need urgent medical attention. Normally people get airlifted, but not when it happens to common people. They can't afford and that type of thing. So one can see a situation where medicine is sent by a drone and dropped at the location. Maybe location, local clinic, and somebody, you know, we can save a life. So I like technology generally, but with reference to drones, there's it's novel and we can save lives. We're able to do a lot of other things with them, like in the area of agriculture, in the area of roads, anything really where you can take aerial pictures or diagrams, or in the area of mining. So the uses are legion. So my point really is that we need to popularize them, even from a recreational point of view. The competitions need to be more visible, and also take them, you know, kumamisha kumusha chako chako, and have that competition, and let local youngsters also just see what is this. Now you can see them at rallies, they are playing a role, but they have other roles that they can play. The area of concern at the moment is regulation of drones. I think we're behind as a ministry in terms of putting that framework in place, but we are now working very, very seriously. I've had a number of meetings with people from civil aviation, Authority of Zimbabwe, and officials in here, and also spoken to the Attorney General's office, who are responsible for drafting the regulations. So I'm happy that there is steady progress, and it shouldn't really take us too long. The information I had was that they were expected to be in force by February, which to me is too far away. You know, it's really too far away. We need to, I mean, they are flying, you know, and the public is actually asking for regulation. So the public don't want to use them without regulation. So I think we need to play our part and enable the use of drones in a legal way, in a controlled way.
And even like when you're mentioning popularizing of these drones, and looking at the various laws that are in the draft document by CAZ of what you should follow when you want to fly a drone. It's stretching across all types of drones, and all types of drones means from a small recreational drone that I'm just using to capture some footage to some slightly bigger agricultural drones that probably are doing fumigation of crops to like even bigger drones that are like intercontinental drones that fly around. And most of the drones that are coming through right now are mainly those recreational drones or even smaller ones that kids can just play with. And it's something that has been hard to understand in the CAZ legislation, that which drone are they talking about here? It's
From what I saw in the regulation, in the drafts, they've basically covered everything that flies. You know, that's why it's falling under civil aviation. Everything that flies. I'll give you an example. I bought a little helicopter, and like I said, for myself. but I had an excuse.
But they can play.
They can. Yeah. So we flew it quite high, and it disappeared. Went past our neighbor's place to the next house and landed on the roof. Right? So the neighbor could say, well, I'm down the Torah video on dream bedroom. You see what I mean? But this is not, technically speaking, a drone, but it's a helicopter. So I'm not. My recollection is that the regulations don't actually use the word drone.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't. They have some technical catch-all phrase which they are using, which I think is a good thing. So I've personally read them. I think they can be improved in certain respects, like the issue of no-fly zones. I didn't see it in there, but we wouldn't want private drones to be flying over security establishments. So that's an improvement that I think can be done, and a few other small things that I noticed. So we'll meet again, and hopefully stakeholders can input once more. But our urgent preoccupation now is to have some framework. We can always improve it, because the drones will also go through advancement. And we may need, so we need to be talking
to always be up to speed with that.
There was also some regulation that was also put in place for probably people who are just visiting Zimbabwe and want to use a drone.
Yes.
And they're supposed to provide a bit of paperwork. And there were some mention of it being a bit too strict when it comes to a person who just wants to probably fly a drone over Victoria Falls and just check out the falls from above.
Yeah, I think there's a need to, people have all sorts of motivations. And I think it is proper that as a country we need to know that there is a foreign registered drone, just like an aircraft that is going to be flying in Zimbabwe. Because you can have a group of tourists who come, say, from the States, but they want to be able to record their experience. So we must allow that, but within the confines of some
laws.
But we must not make it tedious. What I think is that technology can play a role in this way, in that Mrs. X is in the United States. She wants to bring a drone to Zimbabwe. Can she not apply for the necessary permits from online in the States? You know what I mean? So that we don't have somebody doing the runaround, going to Zimra, going
especially for a foreign person who's not familiar with this.
This links well with our ease of doing business approach, facilitating business. So the person learns and they are known that they are bringing this type of drone with such a capacity. If they now have to present their permit as they come in at the airport or at any other port, that would be good. You see?
So
we need to look at those possibilities.
So I think I'll be taking over about drones. We've only got a few minutes, but you met with Kuba Cash. I think that was last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What do you think about that concept?
Well, look, we need to try new things, particularly when they solve existing problems. We have problems of congestion in Harare.
Yeah.
There are times I think, I come early, I'm in the office by 7, primarily because I've work to do, but also because it will take me 3-4 minutes from my place to come to work.
Okay.
If you leave around 7:30, you get here at about 8, but the distance is so short. So what I like about that, it's something that we are looking at, because I was happy to see that they have actually been working on this since 2014. So they've done a lot of work. So the concept is quite appealing, that you can be taken, say, from Rotten or Copacabana. You jump off from your lift, Kambuzuma, and then you are dropped, say, at 4th Street.
Yeah.
Then you catch your combi to Marondera or wherever you are. You are going, or maybe you have some business to do, or you work in this office. So you just come and you walk across. You have no parking issues or whatever, and I found that I think it's something that's worth investigating. We can't ask them to have a cable from Kambuzuma or Norton. You know what I mean? It's meant for short distances.
Probably we could have some magnetic levitation trains from there.
Exactly, maybe one day we'll get to teleportation. You never know. But that would be a good thing. And I think the public, I suspect they will like it. It will have a recreational value, and it will have a transportation value, and subject to the overall assessment that we will make, on the face of it, it sounds quite appealing.
True, and even like for tourism, it would be fantastic.
Exactly.
It actually, I was actually talking when we were sitting there saying that the view from here is just amazing. The purple jacarandas and stuff. And imagine if
seeing it
the
from
cable
above
car is going to be there. Probably it will be traveling at this height. And it'll be a new way of experiencing the city.
I've experienced one just once in Malaysia. Just very, very high. And I don't like heights.
You sounded like that.
Even in lifts, those. I work at the Reserve Bank. There are lifts which are glass. So I'd never lean there or face the other side. I'll just be next to. So there will be recreational and other utilities in that technology, and I think it's a good thing. And it's it has a visual element to development. Imagine you're along one of these roads, let's say Robert Mugabe, and there is a drone slowly moving. A cable slowly moving, and dropping off people. I can see kids saying, "I want to go." Very tangible. So so it's a good thing.
As long as your fear of heights does not frustrate
I think
people.
I'll need blinders or something.
No, great stuff. You mentioned something about parking in passing, and the situation in town right now is it's quite dire, to say the least. In that I think the official stats are saying there are 100,000 cars going into the CBD each day. And we have around 6,000 parking spots. 1,200 are dedicated to the government. What can be done in that space to improve?
I think that I don't know what the city fathers have planned. But I think we have a number of issues. One of the issues is enforcement of laws. You can't have Gonyet Richipura Nemuna second. You know what I mean? Or Mona Samura Machel.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
On Saturday, that
Yeah.
was the case.
That was the
One of
case,
my
yeah.
show,
Yeah.
and you decided to hit a U-turn.
Yeah, and
you
causes
can imagine.
havoc, you see. So we need to enforce traffic and traffic laws and municipal bylaws so that these big trucks circumvent the CBD and they go out and onto the main road and they go. But I mean the degree of lawlessness now to this morning I saw about 4 combis. They've created a 3rd lane, in some instances a 4th lane, driving in front of oncoming traffic. So there are things that can be done, you know. We can restrict certain sizes of cars from coming into the CBD. I know in the past there's been talk about toll gates. It happens. You can't park in central London.
Yeah.
It's just prohibitive. So you decide to go onto the train instead of driving around. So you may not even invest in a car because if there is an efficient transportation system, which is something that we need to address. Because now we have people clinging behind a combi.
And then we've normalized that.
Yeah, we've normalized. Even this thing that I'm telling you about, driving directly in front of oncoming traffic. And it's not combis only now. You see even executives, you know,
That's the
in
thing.
Jaguars
Down
and
to
what.
citizens as well.
Yes.
It's becoming a
Even corporate cars, Zagato Company X, you see somebody speeding. So we need cameras in there, but I think we also need to invest in parkades, you know, so that you have a multi-story parking space that can take so many vehicles. I don't know if there are enough spaces to do that, but it certainly would solve some of the problems. But I understand that quite a lot of the vehicles are not registered. So all that, we have got to put all that together to find a solution.
Even like this man here was once in Cape Town, and he was always ranting about a dedicated lane for buses.
Lane
for buses.
But see, in South Africa, it's I think in that respect a bit better for us. That, you know, if you are slow moving, you really should be on the outer lane. But here you'll find somebody doing 30 kilometers per hour, maybe even texting or whatever on the highway, and it creates problems. So some of it, we need a change of culture, how we do things, conscientize the public, but the law must simply be enforced and obeyed by everyone.
That's true. That's true. I don't know, guys. Does anyone
I guess
have
I would personally be interested in what would be like your ideal vision for transportation in Zimbabwe,
I think,
especially like concentrated places like the CBD, between the major cities and towns and all that, like
teleportation.
Yeah, you hinted at that.
Yeah, but I think we need we need smart roads. Yeah, we need roads without potholes, and we are working every day. You can see some of the transformation that is happening throughout the country, and we should not forget about rural areas. We also need technologies that help us to have clean roads in rural areas, roads that are not washed away every rainy season. You know what I mean? You should be able to take your decent car, drive on a road in the rural areas without dust, without all sorts of impediments along the road. So yes, we need to think about town, but we must also think about the outlying areas, even farming areas. Develop good roads to enable transportation of produce.
Definitely.
Okay. So in closing, this is going to be a tricky question for you.
Okay.
So you love drones, but you have this fear for heights. If you had an option to either walk to work every day or get in a drone that transports you to work, what would you choose?
Well, I could get onto the drone provided there are two things. Provided I don't have to look down. Number 2, provided there is no turbulence.
All right.
All right? I will do that, but I'm used to walking. Yeah, I walk. I can do 20 Ks. I do it sometimes. I wake up at 4.
20?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's why you realize you're not
20 is a
walking.
lot,
eh?
I was like 14. I'm a legend.
Yeah. 20, I can do that with 15 kg.
Nah, now you're flexing. Now you're flexing.
Yeah, no, yeah, so I can do that.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
No,
It's
thank
been a
you very
wonderful
much.
talk.
Thank you for
And I hope other ministers and whatnot are listening and taking cues.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. So let us know what you think about this podcast. If you have any questions, and then we'll see if we can do a follow-up. And yeah, thank you for listening. Catch you on the next one.